Well, I am so excited to be here, guys, with one of my best friends, and she's also someone who is very important in the world of Chipotle, the Mexican grill. And we have some Chipotles here in our own area. So I just thought she would be the perfect person to be here today with us. She is the youngest team director in the whole world for Chipotle. So this is a big deal. We are so lucky to have her today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to play you a quick introduction so that we are ready for the interview.
What's up, you guys? My name is Mr. Stefan, and this is Ability Academy Online. Welcome to a special series where I will interview some very important people in our communities. Today, we will meet an amazing leader and learn more about their work experience. First, we need to learn about the job. After that, we will meet our guest. Watch the interview, and at the end, they will answer questions from the audience. Your microphone will stay off until it's time for the questions. Now let's get started. It's time for class.
Let's talk about the job of the day. Today, we are going to learn about the fast food crew member. What is a fast food crew member? A crew member is someone who works as part of a fast food team. Fast food restaurants are places where they promise to make your food fast. So what do crew members do? Here are the job tasks that you will probably need to work on to get this job. A fast food crew member does many different tasks. You might work with money or credit cards, serve customers, prepare and cook food, and of course, you will have to provide excellent customer care. It is important to have the right skills for the job. Let's look at what the skills are. You will need to know how to communicate in a positive way. You need to be physically fit. And you also need to know how to work as part of a team. That means save the drama for your mama. So how can you get this job? You do not need to go to college to become a fast food crew member. You will learn everything that you need to know at work. To apply, you can visit the website of your favorite fast food restaurant and complete an online application. So now that you know more about the fast food crew member, let's meet our guest for the day. Ashley Gibbs is the youngest Chipotle team director in the world, and we are so lucky to have her here with us. Ashley grew up in Southern California, but moved to San Francisco for school. She went to San Francisco State University. During college, she took a job at Chipotle at the Westlake Center in Daly City, California. Ashley was a natural. She did amazing work at Chipotle and she got really good really fast. Ashley decided that college was not right for her at this time in her life. So she left college to become a store manager at Chipotle. Soon, Ashley would be in charge of her own Chipotle store. Ashley does many important things during her free time. She loves to go to church. She also loves to travel the world and see new things. And most importantly, Ashley loves to help people who are not as fortunate as she is. Ashley continues to do great work at Chipotle. She is popular. She is powerful. And she is Bay Area Chipotle royalty. So please join me as I welcome the amazing Ashley Gibbs. All right, so I am so excited, you guys. We are so lucky to have Ashley here with us. And you guys saw the story. So she is a very important person in the Chipotle industry. And she worked really hard to make it happen. So Ashley, I want to start by saying hello. And I want to ask you because we know a little bit about your story, but I think it's always more fun when we get to hear who you are outside of work. So if you could just tell us a little bit more about you, where you're from, what you like to do, anything that might be fun and interesting.
Sure. Well, first, I want to say hi to everybody and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to sit down and chat with you all today. I'm really, really excited to be here. As for myself, it said in the video already, but I grew up in Los Angeles and I moved to San Francisco about 8 years ago to go to college. And during that time, I actually got to meet Mr. Stefan. He's one of my best friends outside of work. We met at Chipotle. But for myself, what I like to do when I'm not working is I hang out with friends. I like to hike. I'm a big fan of being in nature. I enjoy reading and I also really, really like to travel. Unfortunately, it's hard to travel right now with everything going on, but in 21, I can get back to traveling around and experiencing new foods and new cultures and new friends around the planet. So that's a little bit about myself.
I love it. And so a lot of what we talk about is, having the job skills that you'll need to become as independent as possible. Because I think it's important to remember that having a job is not just about going to work, it's also about being able to do fun stuff in your free time. So Ashley is definitely somebody who does a lot of really cool things with her life. So I'm just so excited for you to be here. So if we could, of course, we're here to talk about your work at Chipotle. And so if you could just tell us a little bit about what your job is right now, and then what you do from day to day. Like what is a day in the life of Ashley Gibbs?
Yeah. So right now, my official title is called a team director. It's also known as a director of operations. And what I do is I oversee about 60 Chipotle restaurants in the San Jose area. So I recently moved from San Francisco to San Jose. And a day in my life is never the same. It's different every single day. Some days are full of phone calls and Zoom meetings like today. Some days I get to actually be in the restaurants working side by side with the teams. But my main responsibilities are to ensure that each Chipotle is that I'm responsible for, it has a safe food culture because obviously no one wants to eat food and get sick. That they have excellent customer service. That they have enough managers and enough team members to do all the things they need to do every single day. And lastly, I'm responsible for making sure that each Chipotle makes money for the company. At the end of the day, we're a company. That's how we get paid. So I have to make sure that they are also financially successful for the big company of Chipotle. That's what I'm responsible for.
I love it. That's so much. But so one of the reasons why I am so excited to have Ashley is because she really is a big boss at Chipotle, which means to me that she works with so many different kinds of employees. And I really think she is going to have lots of great information for all of us who might be looking for this kind of job, either at Chipotle or somewhere else. And so I really want to pick your brain, Ashley. And one of the questions that I really want to focus on is, well, first of all, I want to know how you decided that this was a job for you, because you started as a crew member. So you started in Chipotle serving the white rice and the black beans and the chicken, and you and I together scrubbed the floors on our hands and our knees in the bathroom. So you started as a crew member. You started from step one. So what made you decide that this was something you wanted to keep doing?
Well, I think the number one thing that helped me decide that this is something that I wanted to do long term was the people that I got to interact with. Really in meeting to know them, and in a meal, Chipotle, we had the ability to take people just like me and you who were crew members and show them that they have potential to do more. We got to invest in them by teaching them new skills, helping them become better leaders, helping them have more confidence. And in turn, they were able to get promoted, which is a confidence boost, but it also helps them gain more independence in life, which is really important for me. And so I knew that I wanted to stay with Chipotle based on how much they care about their employees. I love the food, obviously, and the business side is fun. But really gets me going and gets me up out of bed every single day is knowing that I get to be surrounded with so many different types of people and get to teach them new things and help them in their life outside of the restaurant.
That's one thing that we've talked about before also is a lot of people, especially a lot of people in this meeting right now, sometimes some of us will receive checks, and we talked about this in the last interview, but some people receive checks from the government without going to work. It's not a lot, but it's some money. And so I've heard a lot of people say, well, I don't want to go to work because I get money for, just staying at home. But I love what you're saying, because I think that's so important, is realizing that having a job is also a place where you can make friends and you get to be surrounded by people who you want to be around. And so finding a company and a job where you have that is going to really make your life so much better. It's so much better than sitting at home doing nothing, being bored. And so
Mhm.
it sounds like, Ashley, it sounds like you have really made some good connections at work, and that's one of the most important parts of your job. Does that sound true?
Yeah, definitely. Some of my closest friends to me, the people that I spend my time with outside of work, actually were friends of mine or people that I met when I was a crew member, such as yourself. You're one of the closest people to me, and I met you because you taught me how to close or clean the bathrooms at the end of the night. And so many of my friends came from Chipotle because I have moved from a different area, so I have many friends. So uh, working at Chipotle gave me so much more than a check. It gave me confidence, friends, and I was able to be independent from my parents.
I love it. Okay, well, I want to ask you, so you are in charge of a lot of people. You are
Mhm.
a big boss. And so I would love to know, because the people in this meeting today, we're looking at jobs like crew member jobs. We're looking to start from step one. And so, what are some of the things that your crew members have to do to get a job at Chipotle?
I think your video said it really well. You learn all of the skills of the job once you actually start. So, like how to roll a burrito, how to clean things properly, those type of skills will teach you. The skills that we're looking for our candidates or the people who are interviewing to already have is we want people who genuinely enjoy working with other people. You're going to be working on a shift with 5 to 10 people you're working. And so it's important that you enjoy working with other people and you can be a team player. It's also important that your personality is a little bit more on the if you're trying to let me say if you're trying to work in the front of the house, so if you're building the food on the line or you're a cashier, you want to enjoy interacting with other types of people, because you're going to be interacting with a lot of customers. And so you want to be that person that is naturally smiley, energetic, and enjoys having interactions with customers. If you're the type of person who maybe doesn't enjoy interacting with lots of people during the day, you can work in the back of the house. Those people prepare the food, or they prep the food, and they don't have as much interaction with the guests as people cheers do. So we're looking for people who are team players, who enjoy working hard, who enjoy taking direction from their managers. And I think above all, one of the best qualities a candidate can have is someone who learns from their mistakes. No one's perfect. But if you make a mistake, that you want to learn from it and be better and try not to make that same mistake twice. I think that's a really good quality to have.
Yeah, and it sounds like, and of course, I know a little bit because I worked there for a few years, but it sounds like what you're saying is that um, there is a little bit of something for everybody. So, uh, and we talked about it as well, that, making burritos is not the only job at Chipotle. You
Yeah.
also clean tables, you can also make food in the back. So I think the big message there is just that, don't count yourself out. because there are opportunities in every business to do different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. Okay, so I like this question because a lot of times in the young adult program, the teachers, our job is to teach students about, job opportunities and job skills and also rules and regulations that need to be followed. And sometimes I don't know if the students believe that we're being honest. So I want to know, in the real world, at the real life Chipotle restaurant, what are the really important rules that your crew members must follow in order to keep their job? So what are the big rules that you need to follow if you want to not be fired at Chipotle?
Well, some of the biggest rules that any fast food company has are around food safety. And so it's important that you never come to work sick, that you call your manager if you're not well. And it's important that if you're not sick, that you show up for every single shift and always on time. It's a really easy way to get fired if you're constantly late or you just stop, don't come to your shifts. It's also really important that you take direction well. Sometimes you're going to make a mistake and your manager is going to correct you, and you have to be able to take that feedback without an attitude. So having a really good attitude is really important. Chipotle has a uniform for our crew members that they have to wear. So they have to wear jeans, no skirts or shorts. They have to wear the shirt and the hat that we provide to them. And then they also have to wear slip resistant shoes, which are special shoes that help you not to slip when you're walking in the back of the house, because there's sometimes like spills in water and stuff like that. But then on the job, we teach a lot around food safety, like how to wash your hands properly, how to prepare food properly, the temperatures of the food. And if you fall out of line or don't follow those procedures regarding food safety, that's definitely a way to get you fired. So I would say making sure you come to all your shifts on time and that you have a really good attitude, especially in the beginning while you're learning all the new rules of any job.
Is it easy to fire people or hard to fire people for you?
I think it's both. It's hard because we care about everybody, but at the same time, if you have a restaurant and there's 30 people in the restaurant and one of them is misbehaving or they're not following the rules, it hurts the other people. So we would much rather get rid of that one person than have the entire staff suffer for one person. So it's hard because we never want to let people go, but we'll do it if you don't follow the rules.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm so happy that you gave us that information because, again, I think sometimes when you're younger, it's hard, you don't know if, I don't know, when your teachers or your parents tell you something, you're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I love hearing from Ashley because Ashley is, again, she's very important in this company, and she's telling us all the things that you guys are hearing in class. So I love that because it is really important to follow rules and to make sure that you're doing your best work because in the real world, you will be fired. There's no second, third, fourth, fifth chances, right? You do have to, you have to act like a grown up, like a professional. So thank you so much, Ashley, for that one. Probably the most important question of all. So what are your favorite things about working for Chipotle?
My favorite things are the free food. Um, no matter what level you work at in the company, you get free food, and I really like Chipotle, so that's a win for me. But it's similar to what I said in the beginning. I enjoy getting to meet so many different kinds of people, hearing their stories, and then seeing what I can do to help them be a better version of themselves, whether that's giving them confidence, helping them understand new skills that they need to be a better crew member, or even potentially promote in the company. The culture inside of Chipotle is something that has always kept me. It doesn't mean the job is always easy. We have hard days all the time. But while you're working through those hard days, you're working with a bunch of people that you enjoy being around. And so it makes those hard days a lot easier to get through. So free food, and then the people that I get to meet on a daily basis is always the best thing about working at Chipotle.
Love it. And I love that you mentioned the hard days also, because I know that in my program, I talk about that a ton. Is when we think about restaurant workers, we think about the food first. And of course, that's part of the job. You do make food and you do serve food, but we don't always think about all of the rest of the stuff that goes into it, like cooking, like chopping things up, like cleaning the restrooms, cleaning the tables. And so all of those things are going to be expected of you. It will not always be fun. And when there's a line out the door and your boss is yelling at you to hurry up, that's all part of the job. And so again, being professional and mature enough to be part of that is really important. Mm-hmm. All right, so what are your tips for people who maybe would like to work at Chipotle, or really as a crew member at any restaurant? What do you think are your top tips for our audience members here?
If you are going in for an interview at a fast food chain, I would say make sure that you're honest. You let them know what you're good at and what you're not good at. So if you're good at dealing with customers, you should let them know. If you're not good at dealing with people, you should also let them know. You should think about things that you've already done in life that would help you in the job. And what I mean by that is, if you clean at home, if Mr. Stefan or some of the other teachers that you have given you assignments around, understanding things about yourself. Maybe it's that you're, qualities that you have that are really strong. Maybe you're a part of clubs, or maybe you already have work experience. You want to come into the interview prepared to sell yourself. In an interview, you want to talk about why that company or organization should hire you. So you want to talk about all the things that you're really good at. And that at Chipotle, when I first got hired at Chipotle, I didn't have much experience. So you don't need to have years of experience to work as a crew member in fast food. They're looking for people who are team players, like Mr. Stefan already said in the video. They're looking for people who smile a lot, because that means that they're probably going to interact well with other people. And they're looking for people who are going to be honest with what they're good at and what they're not good at. So that way the person or the manager knows who you really are as a candidate, and they can decide if you're the best fit for the job. Another tip would be to look at what the actual responsibilities are of the job and make sure it makes sense for you and what you're looking to do. And you can do that on the company's website. Any company you want to work for, McDonald's, Starbucks, Chipotle, you can go to their website and look at the description of the crew member, and you can then go into the interview and say, hey, I looked at the description and I think I fit in these categories, and this is why you should hire me. I think those are the tips that I have for people applying.
Love it. Okay, so if you're okay, Ashley, I would love to, we have about 10 minutes left. So I would love to give everybody the option to turn their microphones on and ask any questions that they might have for you. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm gonna go in here. I'm going to, okay, so participants, so everybody in the audience, anybody who has a question for Ashley, you can now turn on your microphone. So if you do have a question for Miss Ashley, go ahead and hit the little microphone button on your screen and then ask your question and she'll give you an answer.
All right. Good morning, Steve. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. All right. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. My name is Tristan. The things that you were just talking about actually inspired me because also I have been experience working in, like, I don't care, like if it's like I worked at Safeway a long time ago. I used to do a lot of things like I used to clean up restrooms. I'm really good with customers. Always say good morning, how are you? The expressions, always smiling, like you were talking about earlier. So how do you get experience with working at Chipotle? How you become a boss? Like he said, you went to Chipotle to be a big manager, and one day you're gonna have your own story, right?
Yeah, thank you. I think that's thank you, Tristan. That's a really good question. I worked my way up to become a manager with every level. So I started as a crew member and I wanted to know every single station. So there's 4 stations at Chipotle. You can work cash, the front line, prep in the back, or be the person that grills the food. 4 stations first, and then after I learned all 4, I really just asked for a lot of feedback from my managers, how I was doing, what I could do to improve. And then second to asking for feedback, I always was then that my crew members could count on for support. So, I closed a lot, which means I worked until after the restaurant closed and we would clean the restaurant for the next day. And I would never just close my specific station leave. I would always close my station and then I would help the rest of my team out. So I was that team player that anybody could count on. And once my managers saw that I always wanted to be better because I was asking for feedback, and I also, the person crew members could count on, that's when they asked me to be a kitchen manager, which leads the back of the house. After I did the same thing in that role where I just asked for a lot of feedback and was constantly improving, they asked me to a service manager, which is a person that leads the front of the house. And then I became an assistant general manager, and then I became a general manager of that restaurant. So I was the main manager of one location. So in every way, I just worked my way slowly up. I wasn't like a crew member and then shot way up. I did one step at a time, and I did that by always supporting the people around me and asking for a lot of feedback. It's a really good.
That's really good. Okay. So how do you how do you feel when you're in Chipotle helping your team? Does it make you feel good, or make you however, how does it feel?
It makes me feel really, really happy because that's just the type of person I am. I really, really enjoy helping other people. So I do it at work, but I also do it outside of work. I spend, I volunteer a lot. And so I really, really enjoy helping other people because not only do I get to make a new friend, but I also learn more about myself because I can see what I'm good at and what I still need to work on while I'm helping another person. So I really, really enjoy it. It makes me feel really good.
Okay, yeah. So I think that would actually what you're explaining yourself, how do you feel about your job, how else is going is pretty good. That's awesome. But I was wondering, since that's actually inspiring me to get it, to make me become better a person, how to treat people, how to, like, if it's like if a customer is rude to you, you don't be rude back. You still be nice to that person. And for me, that also helps me become a little bit hard worker. I'm also a worker. I used to stock shelves like me. I used to help my team when there's spills or anything like that. Um, so I used to be a good courtesy clerk, but I don't work at Safeway no more. I quit there because a lot of people just there's brand new people coming in. I didn't feel comfortable. It didn't make me happy.
Mhm.
It didn't make me anything. So I quit from there, and now I want to do something else that would actually make me happy. So I think you're helping me, and I was wondering if I can get your information, like your number and everything else. And you just made a new friend. That's awesome. But I was just wondering if you can help me a little bit to make me become better for my like to become for myself. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I'm happy to do that. I don't know, Stefan, if you're sharing my information after this, but if you're looking for a job at Chipotle, I don't have any specific restaurants near you because I'm in the San Jose area, but there are a lot of Chipotles around you with a lot of great managers in there. But if you're talking about something else besides Chipotle, I'm help in any way I can for anybody on this call.
Yes.
Yay. Well, that's yeah, and so I can definitely. So one of the things that the last presenter did was she sent me some resources and I shared it out. So I mean that could be we'll talk. Ashley and I will talk about how we're gonna make sure that you guys get support from her. Okay, Tristan.
Perfect.
Yes, that's great.
Awesome. Is there
And
anybody else who has questions? We have maybe like
Taking
4 or
a
5
lunch
minutes
break,
left.
Ashley?
A lunch break. Yes, in California, anywhere you work, you should get a 30-minute lunch break. Any shift you work over 5 hours. So anytime you're working over 5 hours, you should receive a 30-minute lunch break. That's a California law.
Miss Ashley,
Perfect.
I have a question. What's the best job for somebody who isn't much of a talker?
Definitely, I would say the back of the house. If you don't enjoy talking on grill and on food prep, the people that are in the back making the food, they're not going to have to interact with the guests as much. So if you were to go and apply at Chipotle, when you get the interview, you would let them know, hey, you know, I'm passionate about this job. I would love to work here. However, I don't I'm the biggest talker, and so I would want to work maybe in the back of the house is what we call it. You would still talk to your crew members, so you would still have interactions with your managers and the other people on your team, but you didn't talk to guests all day.
And then I have a question in the chat, so I'm going to read it to you.
Sure.
So when completing an application for Chipotle, is there something typical that an applicant does, like, for example, an incomplete application or limited experience that would cause them not to get an interview? And then the second part of that is,
there's not
what is the
anything
age limit?
specific on your application that would cause you not to get an interview. The only thing that could potentially happen is each restaurant is always hiring for their specific business needs, meaning sometimes they're only looking for cashiers because that's what they need. Sometimes they're only looking for people who can work the the morning your application doesn't match up with their business needs, they might not call you in for an interview. So my recommendation would be to apply to more than one location. That's what I did when I was applying to Chipotle. I applied to 3 different ones. The age limit is you need to be 16 years or older to work at a Chipotle.
Perfect. All right. So I know that some of us have to leave around right now, and so I want to. First of all, I want to say thank you so much to Ashley Gibbs. Again, the world's youngest team director for Chipotle. So that means she is the youngest team director on all of the planet Earth. No one else has ever done what she's doing. So we are very lucky for her to be on the call with us today. So thank you so much, Ashley. I really do appreciate it. And I think there was so much great stuff that you shared with us. I know that Ashley's class for sure needs to leave. And so I think how about if you guys have any other questions, you can send them to me and then I will share them with Ashley, and then we'll make sure that all of your questions get answered after the meeting. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you, Ashley. You are the greatest. You are such an inspiration. And I really hope that all of you guys here are inspired, because this is a job that is achievable, right? We could do this job. We could do this work. And all you need to do is make sure that you are doing your best to get through whatever program you're in right now, whether you're in high school or the young adult program. Make sure you do your best work, because this is possible for all of us. And I'm just so grateful to you, Ashley, for helping us to hopefully inspire some people to do some great things in the workforce.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephan, for having me here. I had a blast, and for giving me the opportunity to chat with you guys today. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.